Welcome, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of What's Up Sport. I'm Camrush.
And I'm Peter, and today we will be looking at one of the hottest events in sports history. One of the largest stream sporting events, breaking records at 65 million concurrent viewers and topping out at over 108 million viewers. Today, we will be looking at the controversial Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson boxing event.
This is actually crazy. I can't even believe this match actually happened. Like a senior citizen finding a young athlete who's in his prime. Like, why isn't Jake Paul fighting someone like Anthony Joshua or Canelo? Because from what I remember, when he fought someone his own age, that was his weight class, he ended up losing.
It is a truly wild occurrence. And get this sporting event was held by Netflix.
Yeah, that's actually crazy too. Talking about Netflix, we have them here for you today, and they're going to give us an insight of the fight and the event. Welcome, Mr. Flixman.
Thanks for having me on the show. I'm Mr. Flixnet, CMO here at Netflix, and I'm calling to offer insight on the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. This fight represented a massive step in what we here at Netflix can do. Here we are, pitting legendary boxer Mike Tyson against internet sensation and up-and-coming prizefighter Jake Paul. We broke records that night on November 15th of last year, becoming the most streamed global event with over 108 million viewers on Netflix. Screening the fight on our platform allowed die-hard boxing fans, fans of the Paul brothers, and those looking for some Friday night entertainment to all come together in one place here on Netflix. These viewers no longer have to fork over hefty pay-per-view fees for one night of fighting, with price levels now averaging a steep $65 in Canada on top of regular cable fees. This is compared to our subscription prices that start at $7.99 per month and range to $23.99 per month in Canada, which includes our entire catalog of movies, TV series, and special events like the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight. Including special events like this boxing match is a step towards creating a new model for the sports and special events broadcasting industry that shows you have more to offer than our deep catalog of movies and TV. While I can sit here all day and talk about how this event is a stepping stone for us as a company, it did occur with some teething issues. We will continue to apologize to fans for the technical difficulties that caused a subpar viewing experience. We are working hard behind the scenes to ensure that for our next event, broadcasting quality is consistent with what you have come to expect from us here at Netflix. In addition to the title fight between Tyson and Paul, the main card featured Amanda Serrano challenging Katie Taylor for the women's light welterweight title and Ramos taking on Barrios for the welterweight championship title. These fights, as well as the preliminary card matches, attract new fans and introduce them to a world of boxing that they may have not been able to view in the past. As a part of our commitment to streaming excellence, we'd like to know who you and your show's viewers would like to see square off on Netflix next. Thank you.
Thank you for the chat and all the great information, Mr. Flixman. Maybe Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua's bout could be next on the list. Next, let's check in with the fighters themselves as they come to speak about their experience during the fight. First, let us welcome the problem child, Jake Paul.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I think it was a massive success for everyone involved. I showed everyone that I'm a problem in the boxing world, taking down Mike Tyson, one of the best to ever do it, and I had a great time doing it. Mike had a great time, it was an amazing fight, and he got a big payday. It was a huge success for Netflix, helping them show the world they can compete in live sports and entertainment. And the fan got to witness an amazing fight between an all-time great and the best boxer in the world, me. I don't really listen to it. Everyone's just trying to hate. They're never happy. They tell me to fight real fighters. I fight Woodley and Silva. They say, nah, it's got to be a real boxer. So I fight one of the best to ever do it, Mike Tyson, and they still complain. They can say this and that about age and past his prime, but he's still an amazing fighter, and we did everything by the book in terms of health and safety. Everything was properly sanctioned. Me and Mike were thoroughly checked to make sure we were all 100%. We even delayed the fight to give Mike more time to ensure he was 100% ready. And obviously, you saw the fight. I wasn't going out there to kill the man. I'm just here to put on a show and show the world that Jake Paul is here, the future world champion. And that's exactly what I did. Every fight I've stepped up. Woodley, Fury, Silva, and now Mike Tyson. I fight the best of the best. Like I said, I'm here to become a world champion. And I'm going to do that by fighting big names. No one in boxing wants to take big fights. They're too scared. I'm what boxing needs. I'm fighting the big names and making people interested in boxing again. Whether it's Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo, maybe even Pacquiao. I don't know. Just know it's going to be massive. Everyone's going to be talking about it. And I'm sure everyone's still going to find a way to hate because that's just what they do best.
Thank you, Jake. Now let us welcome the baddest man on the planet, Iron Mike Tyson. Mike, how do you think this night went for you should you have taken the fight? And can we see anything else coming from you in the future?
Well, I mean, I'm a fighter at heart. I've been itching to fight someone for quite some time, and the right opportunity came up where I felt I could go and do my thing. I'd been training for a while before the fight was even announced, and I felt really good. Health felt good, and my boxing ability felt really good as well. I felt I could put on a show and provide fans all around the world with a historic spectacle. And obviously, the money didn't hurt. This was my first big payday in a while, and that only added to why I took this fight. Listen, it was a factor during this fight. I'm not as fast as I used to be. I'm not as strong as I used to be. I'm not as mobile and athletic as I used to be. I still felt fully ready and confident going into the fight. Jake Paul isn't a fighter like me. He doesn't have it in him like I do in me. If this was 30 years ago, it would have been a whole different story. Jake Paul would not have had even the slightest of chances. I would have punched his game plan right out of his head.
Thank you, Mike. It's always great to hear from a legend like yourself. Now, let's hear some opinions from some of the people around the boxing world. First, we have Chris, a caller and huge boxing fan from McMaster University. Chris, what did you think about the night?
Thanks for having me on, guys. As a lifelong boxing fan, I can confidently say that this fight was a complete disappointment and, frankly, an embarrassment to the sport. Fans were sold on the idea of a super fight, but what we got was a slow, uninspired match that never should have happened in the first place. Let's be real. Mike Tyson is a complete legend to the sport, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. But at the end of the day, he's 58 years old and hasn't fought a professional fight in nearly 20 years. And yet, we're supposed to believe that putting him in the ring against a 27-year-old social media star turned boxer was a fair or competitive fight. It wasn't. It was a spectacle, a cash grab, and nothing more. The fight itself was boring. Tyson barely threw punches after the first few rounds. Jake Paul played it safe, and the whole thing felt like a glorified sparring session. Fans wanted a real battle, but instead, they got 8 rounds of disappointment, and by the end, people in the crowd were literally booing. And don't even get me started on how it overshadowed real up-and-coming fighters who actually deserve the spotlight. Boxing has a rich history of legendary rivals, skill, and heart. This event was none of that. It was a gimmick, pure and simple. And if this is where boxing is heading, YouTubers fighting retired legends for views, I think a lot of real fans are going to walk away from the sport. At the end of the day, we deserve better. Boxing deserves better, and I hope promoters stop chasing easy paydays and start respecting the sport again.
Now, moving on to the CEO and president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC, Dana White. Hey, Dana. As someone who owns and co-owns multiple fighting organizations, what did you think of the fight?
Okay, so what do I think about this fight? Well, I'm not gonna try to be nice about it because this fight was just ridiculous. Like, first of all, Mike Tyson is what, 58 years old? Jake Paul is 27? Like, under no circumstances should a 58 years old man fight a 27 years old guy. Like, this whole thing was just a show. It wasn't even a real fight. And we all love Mike. Nobody wanted to see Mike get beaten by this guy. I mean, Mike is a legend. He shouldn't be fighting against people like Jake. And Jake is only here for the money, and maybe the fame also. He isn't a good fighter. Like, when Jake fought someone like Tommy Fury. So, Tommy was a boxer. He kind of had the same record as him. He was his age and pretty much his size. Well, Jake lost. I'm gonna be honest with this. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Jake Paul is one of the biggest frauds to ever step into the world of fight sports.
Thank you, Dana, for coming on the show and sharing your point of view. Finally, let's hear some words from other boxers who may have been impacted by this event. Let's hear from Brett, an up-and-coming middleweight fighter with some powerful words on behalf of all amateur and professional boxers.
The Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight is a joke. Sure, Jake has some technique, but me and every other boxing professional have been doing this since before we could even walk. The fact that Jake Paul trains for a few years and thinks he's at our level because he can hang with a bunch of retired fighters now is disgusting. The second he fought someone his own age, look what happened. He lost. I respect that he's growing boxing, but he's doing it in all the wrong ways, by disrespecting the sport, and it makes me question his motives. Jake is conning the fans by capitalizing on the nostalgia of old fighters and even other celebrities who he knows he can beat, just for a quick payday. Not to mention there's allegations of the fights being fixed, which would be a whole other issue.
There you have it, folks. That was an insight on the controversial boxing match between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Please let us know what you think about this fight on our website. We would love to hear from you. And as always, stay healthy, stay fit, and we'll see you tomorrow.